Will you be able to see taping hair extensions? Nobody wants to spend good money on hair, sit through a fitting, and then spend the next 6 weeks awkwardly angling themselves away from the mirrors, or quietly hoping that nobody looks at the back of their head too closely. That's definitely not the goal. So let's answer this properly. Taping hair extensions should not be visible. When they're fitted correctly, colour matched properly and placed in the right areas, they should sit flat, blend naturally with your own hair and move with it. The goal is that nobody knows that they're there, including you after the first couple of days. If they are visible, that's never the method, that is the application. But that's actually good news because it means it's fixable. Now it helps to understand why tape-ins are considered one of the most discreet methods. The tape attachment is flat and adhesive, so it sits flat against the head, in the hair, rather than sitting on top of it or gripping around it. There's no bulky bond and no visible clamp. Nothing that creates shape through the hair. That flat profile is exactly why they work so well. But there is a trade-off. Because the tape tabs cover a wider surface area, placement matters even more. They rely on having enough natural hair sitting over them to keep them covered up. When that's right, they're virtually undetectable. When it's slightly off, that wider surface area becomes the reason that they're noticeable. So what does getting it right actually look like? Tape-ins should be placed below the natural parting and away from all the hairlines, in areas where there's enough natural hair to fully cover the tape tabs. The section should be clean, even and consistent, and the colour match needs to be accurate. When all of that is done correctly, the extensions move with the hair. They blend in and you shouldn't be able to see or feel where they are. That's what a good fitting looks like. Now let's talk about why they sometimes do become visible, because this is where most real-world issues come from. First, when placement is too close to the parting. This is one of the most common ones. A tape can be perfectly fitted in every other way. It can be the right weight, the right section size, a great colour match, but if it's placed too high up, it will show. There's no styling trick that reliably hides that. It has to be placed correctly from the start. Second, fine or low density hair. If there isn't enough natural hair to cover the tape tab, it will show through. And this isn't always poor fitting. Sometimes it's just method suitability. Not every method works well for every hair type, so finer hair needs more consideration, not just the same approach, done more carefully. Third, incorrect sectioning. If the sections are too small, there isn't enough hair providing coverage. And once that coverage drops, the edges of the hair start to catch the light. Sometimes it looks fine at first. Then it becomes noticeable after a few washes. Fourth is colour matching, and this one gets missed. Sometimes people think they're seeing the tape, when actually it's the blend. If the colour isn't right, the extensions will stand out, even if the tape tab itself is hidden. And fifth, growth and delayed maintenance. Your natural hair grows, the tapes move down, so something that looked perfect on day one can shift into a more visible area over time. That's completely normal. It doesn't mean something went wrong. It usually just means it's time for a maintenance appointment. And if visibility is increasing, that's often your signal. It's also worth knowing that visibility doesn't improve on its own. If it's left, tapes can start to twist, sit at awkward ankles, and become harder to style around. So if you're noticing it, get it checked. Don't try to work around it. Now let's bring this back to control. What actually keeps tape-ins discreet? Placement away from the crown and parting, clean blended sectioning, choosing the right method for the hair type, and keeping maintenance on schedule. Most visibility issues come back to one of those things. And the good news is that they are all completely fixable. Taping extensions should not be visible. And if they are, it's usually placement, sectioning, colour matching or method suitability. When everything's done properly, they should be completely undetectable. So if you're considering taping hair extensions, you can explore the full Roots tape range below and find answers to more commonly asked questions about tapes.